Welcome, Olathe West, to our ACT Math Prep. My name is Mr. Flynn, and I will be doing the ACT Math Prep for juniors. Before we get started, I need to go over a couple things, how this is going to work out. Your teacher is going to be playing this Edpuzzle on the TV in the classroom with the volume on. Students will watch the Edpuzzle on their own computers with the volume off. You see, sometimes some of the questions and materials we're using, you won't be able to see really on the TV screen from where you're at. You'll need to have it on the screen in front of you. So go ahead and get this all situated. When you are ready, go ahead and advance to the next bit. Okay, breakdown of our setup. The math section has 60 questions. There are also 60 minutes to complete them. Now you may think that, gosh, okay, 60 minutes, 60 questions, that must mean that it's a minute a question, and you couldn't be farther from the truth. What you really want to do is you want to get through the first 20 questions in about 15 minutes. See, that's going to save you 5 minutes to do those last 20 where there's some really tough ones. I'm not saying the first 20 are all easy. There might be a stinker or two in the first 20 questions, but for the most part, they're just trying to get you relaxed, calm down, and get you into the test. So if you can practice going through those first 20 questions on a test in 15 minutes, that's going to save you 5 minutes for the end. Now, unlike the other sections of the ACT, the math section, there are 5 choices for each question. Not 4, right? And in the questions, the topics are anything from pre-algebra all the way to algebra 2. So there are some strategies that you definitely want to do, right, to get ready for it. The first one is to glance at the answers and eliminate bad choices. Because remember, there's 5 choices, right? There's 5 choices for every question. And if you can get rid of, say, 3 of them, well, now you've got a 50% chance of guessing the correct answer. Another thing is people kind of get scared with the geometry part, but you need to remember that everything is drawn to scale. So if something appears to be 90 degrees, it is 90 degrees. Okay, if something looks to be 45 degrees, it is 45 degrees. Also, use your calculator. It's the only section on the ACT where you're able to use your calculator. Use it. Practice with it. Also, don't show your work. This is not math class. Only the bubbles matter. You need to get the correct bubble marked, right? So whatever method you need to do, if you're showing work, you're taking up time to do that. You can save that time, answer some more questions. There's no penalty for guessing. If you leave it blank, it's wrong. So one technique that some people do is the thing called the letter of the day. Let's say they're doing their ACT and gosh, there's 3 minutes left till the hour is up and they've got like 15 questions throughout the test they have not answered. Well, maybe they should guess the letter A on all of those questions. You're going to pick up a couple correct answers just from guessing on that. This letter of the day, you don't want to leave anything blank, right? So think about that. Now, here's the materials you need to have for our prep for these sessions that we're doing during AI class. Everyone needs to get out their calculator, and it needs to be the calculator that you would be using on that standardized test. So it means it's not your phone calculator, right? Because you're not allowed to use that. You need to get some paper, something to write on, and then pen and pencil, something to write with. And then most importantly, a good attitude. You need to bring that good attitude and say, I'm going to learn something new today. This is exciting. Okay, when we're all set, let's get started. So here's our first one. And the technique I want to talk about is glancing at the answers and eliminating bad choices. You'll notice these answers are in order from smallest to largest. And that's the way the ACT usually does the math questions. Now this question's kind of near and dear to me because a couple years ago, 70% of all the students in Olathe got this question wrong. They all marked letter B as the answer choice. They did not use this technique of glancing at the answers and eliminating bad choices. See, this question has an absolute value symbol around the entire problem. that means the final answer has to be positive, okay? Absolute values are on the entire thing. So you should automatically eliminate those two choices, right? That negative 10 shouldn't even been an option for them. Now, if we work it out a little bit, we've got negative 42 plus a positive 32 gives us the absolute value of negative 10. You see where they got the negative 10 at. And the absolute value, that is positive 10. Now, I did mention that you can use your calculator on this. Well, your calculator has a button for absolute value. If we go alpha window, very first choice, I can choose it. I can even type in the question, 6 parenthesis, negative 7, close parenthesis, plus 4 parenthesis 8. Okay, I get the right answer. There is no excuse for missing this question, okay? No one needs to miss this question. It'll be on the test in October, all right? There's always an absolute value question. We should not miss this question. Okay, now it is going to be your turn to do the next one. When you all finish, as a class, teacher will advance to the next slide and we'll be able to see how to work it out. Okay, so here's how to work this one out. We're told that A is positive. Now, if I look at this, this format looks a lot like y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, right? And b is the y-intercept. Well, if A is positive, that means the slope is positive. So the line must be going up, which means it's not this one, it's not this one, it's not this one. Now look at that, just knowing that piece, we get it down to a 50-50. And also, this is kind of a tough question. You kind of can't tell, but this is number 47 on the test. It's supposed to be one of those tough ones at the end. The B value is positive, right? So the y-intercept is positive. That means we'll be touching the y-axis at a positive value, not at a negative value like this one. And so the correct answer should be letter A. Okay. Glancing at the answers and eliminating bad choices, it's a great technique to do. Okay, drawing to scale. Everyone gets scared when they see geometry questions like this, and you really shouldn't. It's drawing to scale, all right? And a little tip for you, if you ever see a question mark, do not read any of this garbage. You don't need to. You just got to figure out what the question mark is. Now, it's drawn to scale. See, this angle here is a little bit bigger than 45 degrees. See, I can tell that there's a 45-degree marking here. And this ray here, this angle definitely looks more than halfway. It looks like it's bigger than 45, which means it's not these two choices. So it's one of these. Looks like it's just bigger than 45, so I would guess letter C. Now, it is important to do the math also, right? So this whole angle here should add up to be 180, which makes this angle right here to be 35 degrees. Now we know that this whole thing here has got to make 90. Therefore, this angle's 55 degrees. But I want you to note, we got the estimated answer pretty quickly, okay? All right, now it's going to be your turn on this one. And again, on the next question here, when everyone's got it submitted and figured out, go ahead and move on and let's see what the answer is. Okay, so on this one, we were told the lines are parallel. These two lines are parallel, and they sure look parallel. This angle here, it sure looks bigger than 90, so I'm going to eliminate those two choices. Now, I do want to make a note that we're kind of recording all the answers that people submit so we can see what people have submitted, right? Want to make sure you're submitting correct stuff, right? You don't want to be submitting some kind of guessed answer. Like someone had submitted 32 on this, I would know they're not paying attention. This answer is definitely bigger than 90 degrees. It's got to be one of these three. So if this angle is 32, I know since these lines are parallel, right here, here's our two parallel lines, and here's the transversal. We know that this angle here is also 32, and then this should make 180. And so if I were to think about what would I add to 132 to get 180, that'd be 148. But again, the key on this one was I want you to eliminate the bad choices. Those are not going to work. All right, use your calculator. Now, you use your calculator on the whole test. Someone may have forgotten their exponent rules on this. Now, this is question number 11, pretty early in the test. We know that this really means that there are 3 of these x to the 6, which means the answer should be x to the 18th, right? Now, that's great if you know the rules. In fact, the quicker way is just to multiply the powers, right? 6 times 3. But sometimes, you take the test, you kind of panic, you're not really sure what to do. So what I do is I just pick a number for x. I'm going to let x equal 2. I never let x equal a 1, but I pick like 2 or 3 or whatever. And I'm going to use my calculator and actually type this in, all right? So we've got parenthesis and then a 2 raised to the 6th power, close parenthesis, and the whole thing is to the 3rd. That's what 2 to the 6th to the 3rd is. I'm going to write that out. It is 262, 144. So what I'm doing is I'm going to look for some question where that is in fact the answer. So I'm going to try out first this x to the 9th, right? So I'm going to try 2 to the 9th power, because I said, hey, x is equal to a 2, right? So 2 to the 9th power, that's not big enough. That's not working. Let's try the next one, 2 to the 18th power. Oh, there it is. So this technique here, that does work pretty well. Okay, I want you to try it on the next one here. This one is your question to try. Okay, so the mathematical way, we always kind of like to make sure people know the math on it. We need 8 A's. There's 6, 7, there's 8 of them, and then there's 4 A's down below. Well, those all cancel out, and we're left with this, which is a to the 4th power, right? That's the math way to do it, or you take the top power minus the bottom power. But again, what if you forgot how to do this? Well, let's let a equal the number 2 and figure out what is 2 to the 8th divided by 2 to the 4th. Use that calculator to see it. Okay, so I go alpha y equals, and I choose the fraction. I'm going to type in 2 to the 8th power over 2 to the 4th power, and I get 16. Okay, so I'm looking for something that gives me an answer of 16. Well, it's not 1. And if I try this one, 2 to the 2nd, that's definitely not it. But however, 2 to the 4th is in fact 16. It's letter C. All right, last one we're going to do here. Number 7, scientific notation. What's a product of 3 and this number? Okay, well, again, you can use your calculator on this. So we're just going to type it in. Decimal point 0.0000072 times, what are we timesing it by again? 3. Do we all see the answer? It's letter B. Okay, again, usually there's one scientific notation question on these. No reason to miss it. You just got to type it into the calculator. Okay, we're kind of running short on time here, so I'm going to kind of skip this one. But I want to give everyone thanks. Glad you all had a great attitude. And again, we'll be doing this ACT prep every Tuesday. Next week will be a different topic. And hopefully everyone gets something out of this and is able to do really, really well. We've made a lot of good success stories with people, and I'm going to keep on doing that. Thank you very much for your attention.